What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show. DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders. Happy to be with you for another week, and not just an ordinary week in the golf streets. This week we've got the Masters, always a fun tournament. Lots of DFS contests out there, lots of money to be won, bets to be made. And so we've added an additional participant to the show tonight. Happy to have you with us. As always, this show gets a few more eyeballs, so might be some competition for those snake draft spots at the end of the show. But super exciting week. And with that, we don't want to waste any time tonight. So I am Justin Van Zuiden, STL Cardinals 84. As usual, I've got one co-host, Mr. Notorious, Derek Farnsworth, alongside me. We'll bring him in a second, but want to introduce our special guest for the night as well. We've got John Daigle alongside, and I don't know if you want me to call you John, if you want me to call you Daigle. How do you want me to reference you throughout the show? And how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I think everyone usually calls me Daigle, honestly, but John is, as we know, a common name. Also, your guest forgot about the snake draft as a weekly watcher that y'all do at the end of every show. So I'm going to have to scramble to put that one together. But nonetheless, my first time here. This is not the pick six for those tuning in. I'm very excited to finally sit down with the two of you and talk golf.
Yeah, for those that might just be familiar with our RotoGrinders show, or maybe they're watching for the first time this week because it's the Masters and there's more people playing golf this week, why don't you take a quick second and just let everybody know a little bit about yourself?
Obviously, Daigle, I guess, is what it is now, working with 4for4 Football and BetSperts. And more importantly, for this show, BetSpertsGolf.com. That's where we have our model. That's where we have our PGA Tour database where we create our own models and you can actually select those models from there. And I dabble, obviously, hardcore in football, but once football ends, I'm working on more long-term projects like blurbs for all the rookies for draft nights, for instance. Also, weekly shows under the most accurate podcast feed. So in between all those long-term projects throughout the year until team previews start rolling out come June and July time, I am dabbling and hardcore playing DFS golf, DK Rainmakers, golf betting, just going all in genuinely because golf is my second favorite sport. And as we were talking about behind the scenes, I do attribute, I don't know, Noto, whatever it is. I definitely look to him and say he is the reason why going back a few years ago, I got so hardcore into it. And now, as I tell everyone, it's my favorite sport. Far and away better than NFL DFS, I believe, is PGA DFS because it's not only sweat for 48 hours, but man, that feeling of even 5 players getting into Saturday and you have the entire weekend to watch them, there's nothing better.
Yeah, you lose your money slower. There's never anything wrong with that, either losing it slower or winning it slower, I guess, as well. But so Noto obviously knows you a lot more than I do. And so I have to form my opinions quickly. And I know this is a golf show. We'll get right to the Masters. But my opinion of you is going to be formed solely on, I need your 15-second take on Will Levis.
I think he is Drew Lock who wears a suit of armor. He is much bigger and more finesse than Drew Lock, but the arm talent and short inaccuracies, in my opinion, are the same thing. Not a fan.
All right. I'm not either, so we'll get along just fine. But NFL
Easy.
draft season.
Golf show done.
Yeah, we're ready to go. Have a great week, everybody. All right. Well, let's get this rolling. Again, I mentioned Noto alongside me as usual, contributed for us over at RotoGrinders. Derek, how you doing?
Yeah, doing good. I've never heard of John, just know him as Daigle. And I've always been a big fan. And I think he talked about Brian Harmon on the Pick Six show one week. And ever since then, I knew we were destined to be together. So happy to have him on the show, and happy that it's Masters week. So if anybody has any questions, fire them up in the chat. Let's have some fun with this.
Brian Harmon may make another appearance this week.
Oh, that's a tease. All right. Well, we have obviously a big time event, not as big of a field with the Masters. If you're not familiar, obviously, with the way this works, a normal PGA Tour event has somewhere between 132 and 156 golfers, sometimes 120-ish if it's an invitational tournament. But the Masters is a little bit more limited. There's only usually somewhere between 85 and 90 golfers in the field, and a lot of them are past champions that frankly don't stand much of a chance. to contend in this era of golf. So you end up with 70-ish golfers that are at least remotely viable. But the pricing is a little bit softer in terms of how we want to handle it for DFS lineup building. You can usually get a little bit more value down in the bottom range than what we've been seeing the last few weeks. Of course, we usually start with a recap of the week prior. I don't necessarily know that we need to do that this week because there's just such a big change, but congratulations to Corey Connors on his victory. Noto, anything else you want to recap from last week, or do we just forge ahead here?
Yeah, Corey Connors won, Noto lost, move on.
I think the real recap comes whenever we reach that price range and talk about Connors, because we are getting some steam now and recency bias at the right time in both Corey Connors at 7,600 and of course Brooks Koepka, who took down the live event. So that's something I've been trying to figure out, and I don't know if y'all have opinions on it as we move along, but I don't know how to weight live events, especially for the killers like Brooks, who have historically done well at this event. And then also it's just frustrating because as steamed as Corey Connors will get, they do this every year for the Masters. Every year we sit here and talk about on DraftKings how he's a mid 7K player. And even after winning an event, he's the same exact price as he was the past few years. So it's just frustrating in terms of ownership.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating dynamic as far as we kind of teased this a little bit last week too, how to handle the live golfers this week. Because if you look in the betting markets, I mean, these are guys. When's the last time you saw Koepka at 35-1 to win a major? Dustin Johnson just won here a couple years ago, and he's like 25-1. Like all of a sudden, did these guys forget how to play golf just because they went to the live tour? I mean, they didn't forget how to get their way around Augusta National. I think in general terms that the live guys are just way too discounted this week. And if the ownership follows that, like our early return show on Cam Smith, some of the other guys, because all the models, are going to be kind of out of whack with how to handle these guys, I think you're getting extreme discounts and criminally low ownership on some of these live guys this week. So it's certainly a risky strategy. But Noto, what do you think just in general about how to handle guys like Cam Smith and DJ and Koepka this week?
Yeah, they're definitely tough to project. In my model, you have to make a lot of manual adjustments because you don't really know the field strength because they're not getting any official world golf ranking points. So you don't really know the quality of the fields that they've been playing in. And then the form's obviously tough too because there's only 48 golfers in each field, and like a T30 is not going to be anything, like a full field event at the PGA Tour level. So it's tough. I do think Brooks Koepka is going to get steamed. I don't think that 4% ownership that we have right now is going to hold up for very long. And I do think a lot of people will gravitate towards him. But to your point, I mean, I did the first look before the weekend, and he was 75-1. And then obviously he won last week. Now everybody's betting him, and now he's down to 30-1 in some spots. So I think Brooks is going to get steamed. I think everyone else is probably going to be fine in terms of ownership. So I do think there's going to be some interesting angles that you can take there. But I don't know. They played three events this year and three rounds per event. So most of these guys have played 9 competitive rounds in the last 4 or 5 months. It's just tough to glean anything from that small of a sample.
Not that I was ever going to select him either, but even on the opposite end of that spectrum, Bryson DeChambeau, one, is back in our lives, guys. Like, we need to celebrate the moment that the king is back. The second most polarizing golfer ever since Tiger Woods, for better or worse. I'm not even saying good, just polarizing. And 2, we are 2 weeks removed from Bryson shooting an 80 and 85 in his 2 opening rounds. Like, it's been a disaster for him. So it's just like, I just don't know how to look at those players and treat them respectively. So I actually love your take, Justin, on waiting to see if ownership's going to follow since they are cheap.
Yeah, so we'll discuss those guys kind of individually in turn as we get there, but we can skip all the shenanigans here and get rolling. And we mentioned the pricing being a little bit softer, so we only have 3 golfers above the 10K threshold on DraftKings. It's Scheffler, Rahm, and McIlroy, which if you want, the DraftKings actually has a little promo, not really a promo, but a prop out there on the sports book that's one of those 3 to win at plus 200, so, or maybe plus 190. But basically, you're getting somewhere in the 30 to 35% odds range of Scheffler, Rahm, McIlroy, one of those guys winning the tournament. Of course, Scheffler in good form, defending champ. Rahm and Rory, we know they've both been playing well for the better part of 6 months now. Daigle, I'll throw this top range to you first. You looking to prioritize one of the stars this week? And if so, who you like the best?
I was also going to ask both of you in a big picture conversation, given that we have all already looked at the salaries and said, okay, there's a lot of value here and just mispricing across the board. Do you then think a top heavy player like a Rahm, like a Scheffler gets steamed, and thus everyone is sort of accidentally duplicating lineups? Because I do want to prioritize Scheffler. No one is trending better, arguably, coming into this tournament. Not only do we know historically that this course has been more predictive of success, Augusta National, than any other course on tour. So then you can obviously look at Scheffler's win last year. But more importantly, whether you go very short term, like their last 30 days, or even the last 3 months, no one in this field has gained more strokes off the tee, which is, as we know, is very important here because you have to set up your second shot on the right side, not the right or left side, but the correct side of the fairway in order to hit the greens, of course, who have historically fought back. That's Augusta's answer to any good drive as well. You still have to land it on these pure bent grass greens. And no one's been better in strokes gained off the tee in this last 3 months than Scotty Scheffler. So I do want to start there. I do want to prioritize him. I do want to eat the chalk. And then I'm curious if you think that, yes, given these miscalculations and salaries, if you think that's where everyone's going to start.
Go ahead, Noto.
Yes, I do think they're going to be very popular for a few reasons. Obviously, the betting market has those three, head and shoulders above everyone else. Pretty much any model that you're going to run is going to be the same. And then we talked about at the start of the show, there's probably, I think I counted 15 golfers that are very old or amateurs that we can kind of throw out. So that leaves us with 73 golfers. 55 or so are probably going to make the cut, just depending on ties. It's top 50 in ties. So you're going to get, 66, maybe a little bit higher percentage of the golfers that we're looking at making the cut. And a lot of them are in the 6K range. So you can feel a lot better about the 6K golfers making the cut, which makes it easier to spend up on Rory, Rahm, or Scheffler. So I think most lineups are going to start with one of those three. And yeah, I don't know if there's a lot separating them, like you mentioned. We didn't really talk about the course at all. Do you guys have you looked at the weather? Because it looks pretty bad this week.
Always Mother Nature's got to try to ruin the plans, but I have not looked at it in detail yet. I did see some rumblings of potential. I mean, are we talking storm delays or wind, or what do we got here?
Yeah, I mean, potentially rain for all 4 days. Saturday could be a washout. Thursday, Friday could be rainy, windy. So it could be an ugly week for the Masters. A lot of people are saying it's going to be the worst weather that we've seen since the Zach Johnson win, who I know is near and dear to your heart, Justin.
You say ugly. I say the most fun weekend ever, especially if it does not include delays among that wind. However, I believe last I checked, and mind you, it's only Monday, so much can change by lineup lock Thursday. But right now, I think there is giving a wave advantage to the late tee time on Thursday. And if that's the case, that's when it becomes less fun, in my opinion.
Yeah. The hard part with the wave advantages is the tee times aren't necessarily flipped like they are in a normal PGA Tour event. So you'll have to really dig into the tee times and start, plotting out their time on the course with the weather. So that should be interesting. But yeah, I agree. I hate when there's a big weather advantage, especially because it never turns out the way you think it will.
Well, if that's the case, then then playing the other side would, in theory, be the winning long-term move in that. But yeah, it's tough to peg Mother Nature, especially then if you got threats for delays, that just throws all the best laid plans out the window. But I think you can definitely get one of these top three in your lineups. It's flip a coin among them. Whoever's the lowest owned, you can have some interest in for GPPs. Mm-hmm. I picked Rory as my official pick to win, but it's again splitting hairs largely with that top group, and then the next group down is Cam Smith, Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas. So still high class golfers, guys that we've been targeting, either before they went to the Live Tour in Cam Smith's case, or over the last couple of months in the other guys' cases, but they are going to project, quite a ways down from that top trio. So Noto, I'll stick with you. Who are you looking at maybe in this 9K range?
Yeah, this one's kind of tough. We're hearing rumblings that something might be wrong with Cam Smith, might be dealing with an injury of some sort. So perhaps that's why he's been playing pretty mediocre over on the Live Tour. But his track record is pretty great around these parts. And less than 10% ownership. He's the only guy above 9K at the moment that has less than 10% ownership. So he's one of the more intriguing decision points. You obviously have Spieth. He's won, I think, 2 or 3 Easters in a row on a Sunday, and now this Sunday is Easter as well. So that's interesting if you like the narratives. But for me, I like Cantlay quite a bit. I like Justin Thomas, and then I like Xander Schauffele. 3 guys that complete games, solid all around. Xander's almost won here twice. He's finished second and third. JT, he seems to have this place figured out finally. I know the putter's been really bad, but the tee to green game's fine. And, I mean, this is the place for bad putters. We've seen Corey Connors, who Daigle mentioned earlier. We've seen Will Zalatoris. We've seen Hideki. All these guys have really good track records at Augusta. So I'd like JT quite a bit, but you can really fill out your lineup with a few of these guys. And if you do start in this range and play 2 or 3 of them, I think your lineup's going to look a little bit different than starting with one of the 10K guys.
Daigle, what do you think about that strategy in this kind of 9K range?
It's just a really tough range, like he explained. I'm still not sure how I'm going to play it. My favorite is Schauffele right now. I don't know what you have on early ownership projections for him, but
about
trending
15.
in the right 15. That's not too bad. Not ideal for that range, but trending in the right direction. 7th in strokes gained on approach over the last 3 months. Has also been putting really well at late. Actually hasn't lost strokes in putting now in 9 consecutive events. So I think everything's going in the proper direction. Maybe we don't have win equity, as we always argue, when it comes to paying up for Schauffele here at the Masters, but at least in terms of a potential top 5, top 10, sure, at 9K, I don't mind that. So that's where I start with this range, and everything else, honestly, I'm still sorting through since it's so tough, especially if we're going to lose Cam Smith at 98.
Yeah, I think it's you're going to see maybe a lot of jumbled up ownership in kind of that mid-teens range. Obviously, anyone that has followed my stuff for any length of time knows that there's no chance I'll be playing Spieth at 25% ownership. So that one's a pass for me. But the other guys, Cantlay, Thomas, Schauffele, even Morikawa. I mean, if you give the bad putters a chance here, I think you got guys like Morikawa, and when we get down to Hovland and stuff that are certainly interesting in tournaments. But these, you can get a lot of 2v2 decisions in here that can really probably make a difference, because there's not a whole lot, say projection wise, separating like a Finau Cantlay pairing from a Schauffele Thomas pairing or something like that. So you could get a lot of 2v2s here, or as Noto mentioned, you could start a lineup in here and, maybe you end up getting, say, 3 or 4 of these guys. And, those are the lineups where maybe you hope that Rory or Scheffler or Rahm don't win. But certainly a lot of guys with some winning potential in this group.
What about Homa? Nobody talked about Homa. I don't think anybody's going to play Homa just because he hasn't done anything at a major yet.
Yeah, or here, yeah.
Playing so well of late, too.
Playing great. He's a killer when he's in contention. I think he could be interesting.
Well, we just talked about asking where he ranked on the PGA Tour once you take all the live guys out, and if he's a top 6 or 8 guy, it'd be nice to see him have some success here in the past, but one of those weeks where you can't play everybody. So you're right, he'll be an X, I think, for a lot of people, but definitely in that tournament mix for sure. Then as we kind of go down into the next range, still pretty loaded. You've got Tony Finau, you've got Dustin Johnson, who I mentioned at the top of the show, I think is an interesting tournament play. You've got Jason Day, who Noto's been on for 3 months now, and is certainly going to be on again this week. And then you've got upside guys like Young and Hovland and Matsuyama, past champion, but who knows how healthy he is. And you got Zalatoris in this 8K range. Interesting options here. Daigle, who you kind of liking as these upper mid-range plays?
All the options, honestly. Like even Sam Burns is playing amazing in terms of putting recently too. So at the right time, even though his play around the green is lacking right now. Yes, I, like Noto, will be flag planning Jason Day. I will probably have him in every lineup. I am completely biased because I bet him at 70 to 1 2 months ago. And that has since only gotten significantly better because if anyone's been living under a rock in his Day's last 12 tourneys, he's missed only one cut and finished anywhere from 5th to 21st, no lower than 21st in the other 11. No one has gained more strokes around the green over the last 3 months as well than Day. So genuinely one of my top 4 favorite outrights for this week at 8,700, which means I have to pile on here. Other than that, Decky now, it's very, very recent. It's just the last 2 tourneys, but also trending in the right direction. 2 top 15 finishes, putted well. And remember, when he won 2 years ago, like he was one of the world's worst putters. And it seems like we forget about it. It seems like he's somewhat turned a corner since 2021. But literally in that PGA Tour season before he won, he ranked 175th in putting on tour. Like absolutely disastrous. And then I just got hot that week. So yeah, I'll be on Decky as well. I'm curious to know his ownership and what you have over there. And then I guess probably given his recent play, Cam Young, although Cam Young, it seems like he may be one of the more popular options in this tier.
Go ahead, Noto. What are you looking at in here?
Agree 100% on Jason Day. How could I not? The crazy thing about his run is he's never been in contention, really. And he's finished, like Daigle said, between 5th and 21st in 11 of the last 12 starts. But he's always seems to just be around 20th and then, plays well on Sunday. And, hey, I'll take a top 10 from him at this price point. That's just fine with me. He's got a pretty good track record at Augusta, too. I think he's got 3 top 3 finishes in his career. The big decision point for me is going to be Zalatoris. I mean, if he showed any sign of life, he would be probably the most popular golfer in the field at 8,200. But everyone, the last time we saw him, he was missing, 18-inch putts at the match play. He had that little hitch in that 2-footer that we all saw. So, yeah, I mean, he's played here twice. He's finished 2nd and 6th. He's long off the tee, has that high ball flight that we're looking for at the Masters. So, man, if he's going to be less than 10%, I got to take some chances on him, even though, the recent form is pretty ugly. Sung Jae is going to be probably one of the more popular guys in the field. Same with Cam Young, like Daigle mentioned. And then one of my favorites is going to be Victor Hovland. He talked today about improving around the green. Now, I'm not sure if I believe him, but he's at least confident. At least he's projecting it out there that he's going to be decent around the greens this week. He's been stone cold, like one of the bottom 4 or 5 guys the last few years, and he's finished in the top 32 each of the last 3 times. So the ball striking has been there. He's gained 9.3, 10, 6, and 5.2 strokes ball striking in his last 4. So if he can just be decent, just average around the greens, I like his chances this weekend.
That's a bold take though. Average from like one of the worst.
Yeah, what's the line on him gaining strokes around the green? Like plus 500?
I think it's got to be higher than that.
Higher than that?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll just hit all the greens and you won't have to worry about it.
Before I forget, I just wanted to let everybody know that the Action Network has a Squares game that you can play. So there are 2 contests, one for rounds 1 through 4 of the whole tournament, and one for round 4 only. $5,000 in total prizes. Free to play the Augusta Golf Squares contest. We will have a link in the YouTube description to check that out. So you can play the Action Network Augusta Golf Squares game to get a chance at some free prizes. Again, totally free to play on behalf of the Action Network. So check that out this week and maybe win some free money. And if not, you're nothing out of your pocket. So check that out over with the Action Network. All right. Let's see if we steer down into the next tier here. What
are your thoughts, Justin? I want to hear your opinion on the 8K range because I think there's going to be a lot of leverage. Like this is the range right here, 8 to 7 or 9 to 8.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the leverage is if you're going with lower owned guys. I mean, we talk about people not succeeding at the Masters their first trip or their first couple trips, but yet we've got a guy in Zalatoris that's finished 2nd and 6th in his 2 trips and always tends to play better on hard courses. And I know the form is not great coming in, and that's part of where that ownership is coming in at. But if I can get him at 8,200 at 5%, especially the way he's projecting in our RotoGrinders models, I think he's the steal of this range at 8,200. I mentioned I like Dustin Johnson as well. If you want to take a flyer on some of these Live Tour guys, obviously Day is the safe play. Sung Jae's the safe play. But more and more people are playing GPPs and stuff these days. And I think my plays in this range are DJ and Zalatoris.
Love it. DJ also, yeah, really good one. Zalatoris, it's not going to affect how much I roster him, but man, that putting stroke has to be the absolute worst on
It's
tour
awful.
right now.
It's bad. Yeah.
It's 3 pump fakes and then like a push it forward. It's really odd.
Well, sometimes when you pump fake, you get a play action touchdown, and maybe he'll hit the jackpot and won't miss the short putt. If he's got a short putt to win the tournament and he ends up coming in 2nd, still outperforming that price tag, and just hopefully he hits enough greens to make up for some of the putting woes. But we'll see. GPP for sure. But yeah, that's the 8Ks for me. Noto, anything else on the 8Ks for you? Otherwise, you can start dipping into the upper end of the 7K spectrum here.
We didn't really talk about Finau, but I do like him quite a bit. His irons have just been amazing. Obviously, got a good track record in majors too, so I like him. He's going to be popular, but just wanted to mention Finau. And then the very bottom, wanted to get your opinion on Tyrrell Hatton, who was probably trending to be more popular, and then obviously missed the cut at Valero. He's on record saying he doesn't really like Augusta National, says it's not fair or whatever. But he was playing great before last week. Do you guys have any interest there?
I have not really stuck him in my player pool just yet. Not a lot of them, anyways.
Justin?
I haven't either. Yeah, but I mean, you raise a good argument there. But I mean, there's just so many. This is the tournament where people are going to end up with like 50 guys in their player pool. And it's only, what do we say, about 65 or 70 some rosterable players. I don't know. You got to make some tough cuts somewhere. No strong.
I'm still curious about, I want to meet the people though, who do roster Sandy Lyle and Vijay Singh. Like, who are those people that actually click them at 6?
If they're in the first group off the tee, it's to get the screenshot at 7 a.m. is why.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're worse than the stack in the first tee time group.
There's always them. There's always those people, but it's just amazing. They're in the pool every year, and they're worth avoiding every year.
Yeah. So when I said there were 73 rosterable guys, that included Zach Johnson and a couple other guys that I would never roster. So yeah, it's really like 65 to 70 guys that you would actually consider. So for once, I'm gonna take the Justin path and get down to like 30 guys this week.
Attaboy. Love it. All right, Noto. What else you looking at in the upper end of the 7K range here?
All right, so this is interesting because not a lot of ownership is flocking to a lot of these guys outside of Corey Connors, and I'm guessing Brooks Koepka. But yeah, I mean, Connors mispriced at this event every year, seems to smash every year, 3 straight top 10s coming off of the win last week. So he's going to be popular. I don't know what to do there. If you're playing him, probably don't play him with, Scheffler and the popular guy in the 8K and Sung Jae, something like that. That's going to be a very popular build. So if you are playing Corey Connors, you want to get a little bit different with the rest of your lineup. I'll have some Brooks for sure. We've been talking about Min-Woo Lee a lot. I got to have some of him. He played here last year, finished T14, plenty of distance off the tee. And I do think with the rain in the forecast and the fact that they lengthened the 13th hole, I do think distance is going to play a little bit more of a factor than we've seen here in the past, especially if it does, the ground is a little bit wet. I know they got their sub-air system, best in the world, but I do think, the rain could make this an even longer golf course. And then, yeah, I'll have some Tommy because I always have some Tommy, but I don't have a lot of strong takes between 75 and 8,000.
Anything for you, Daigle, in there?
Around Corey Connors, I do think Justin Rose is interesting. And I thought strictly for course history, you would say he was also going to be popular this week. But if we're getting him at a reasonable number, Something that I saw, the great Ron Kloss, as everyone knows, PGA Splits 101 on Twitter, noted in his course preview article on the site that in terms of putting, the best differential in this field between putting on pure bent grass greens, which, as we mentioned earlier, is what Augusta's infamous for, compared to non-bent grass greens the last 3 years, which for Corey Conners is a sample of 68 rounds. That Conners is the best, but second best in that category since 2020 is also Justin Rose. So he has the course history. He obviously has a win here. We're expecting him to putt well too. So I like Justin Rose a lot in the high 7Ks around Conners and Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, the Conners thing is part of what makes this a fascinating discussion, because we've got him at probably pushing 30% ownership. And like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, this kind of feels like a broken record. We've seen this movie before, with, the underpriced player in this range kind of being the chalk. But the interesting angle is that there are so many other guys that maybe project slightly worse, but have just as much of a ceiling. Is anybody going to argue with you if you take Fleetwood at half the ownership, or Minwoo Lee, or Neiman, or somebody like that? So I think it's a tough spot, because either I think you just need to be all in on Conners, or if you're a GPP player, you just kind of need to say, hey, I'm going to play the stats. And what our projections have Conners at about 14 to 15% to be on the optimal lineup, and he's going to be owned at 28. So take that for what it's worth. I am not saying I don't like Corey Conners. I just, at that ownership, I don't know. I just think it's too high.
I think I don't know is a good answer. Like, I know we're supposed to show up with the answers and like break it down for everyone, but which is what I'm guessing too, 31%. And honestly, like in the higher stakes, like the 2K single entry and whatnot, I'm expecting it to be around 40, higher than that percent. So, I think the smaller the field, probably the greater chances I eat the chalk. But the larger field recreational tournaments, it's definitely easily avoidable. I'd even rather just take a chance on, like, Adam Scott isn't necessarily putting well right now, but I'd even rather just take a shot on like his driving distance and course history around Corey Conners' salary, $100 less than $7,500, than probably eat Corey Conners in like the Millie Maker.
Yeah, it's just it part of it depends on your personal lineup building approach and your personal risk tolerance. I tend to take the GPP angle of being a little bit more risk reward. I think it gives you more outs, more chances. Not that the chalk is guaranteed to fail. And if Conners finishes 20th, but you get somebody for $100 cheaper that finishes 14th and scores more fantasy points, well, then you're still ahead of the people that played Conners. So if Conners wins the tournament, yeah, you're probably hosed. But a chance that I'm willing to take, maybe more so than some others are. So part of it comes down to your personal opinion. Obviously, he's going to project well. You need to just take that and draw your own conclusions from there. So
and like all of us here, I go back to Star Street and Draft Street days. So this heart is black. Like, I feel nothing now. So I do not fear fading the players that everyone else chases.
All right, let's get to Tiger. Mr. Gerger wants us to talk Tiger.
All right, Noto, go ahead. I'll set my alarm and I'll wake up in 10 minutes when you guys are done talking.
Oh, no. Seriously, like last year we talked about this. Like, you couldn't play him, but his odds to make the cut were too good to ignore. I was hoping that was going to be the case again this year, but he's like minus 270 to make the cut. So I don't know what I'm going to do with Tiger. I might have to play him just because if he's playing in an event, I got to get some sweat on him some way, somehow. He played okay here last year, made the cut, and then at Riv went low on Saturday. The walk looked good all 4 days. We did hear something about him potentially hurting his back now, but I'll have a little bit of Tiger.
I recall vividly you came on the BetSports Golf show at this time last year, Noto, and you and I were pounding the table for Tiger Woods at plus 145 to make the cut against everyone else on that show. And I was vehement on it. But the issue is, like last year, I do think the higher stakes you play, the lower ownership he'll go again this year. The issue, though, is that, in my opinion, he doesn't have like any win equity. I question his top 10, top 15 equity too. And so I almost just don't think it's not even worth chasing, honestly, because we're not trying to get a player at his salary to make the cut. We want more than that. And I just don't think, this is my personal opinion, but you can even see him limp around every course, even given his knowledge of this course. I just don't think he really has like T20 equity, honestly. Could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. I mean, you guys both kind of like him, so I can see. I'm starting to see why you guys get along. You got the Harmon takes, you got the Tiger takes. I mean, Noto, you just gonna bet him to make the cut again? Are you gonna play him in DFS this week? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I gotta figure something out. Maybe I'll
gotta parlay it. Like
maybe
it's not plus money anymore. So
maybe he'll be head to head with Bryson or something. I can get some juice there. But
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Daigle and I also have the same haircut, which is another good factor in our friendship. But yeah, anyway, so favorite guys.
House 19 was not my choice.
Favorite guys in the 7Ks. I do like Siwoo Kim quite a bit. He's made 5 straight cuts here, and he's been so consistent. He used to be the most volatile golfer on the PGA Tour. All of a sudden, he's one of the more consistent golfers on the PGA Tour. He's made 81% of the cuts since the start of last January. So I like him at 7,400. If I'm playing any live guys in this range, I've been hurt by Louis too many times, so I can't go back there. He ended up withdrawing last year after round 1. That was I'll never forget that. And Paul Casey withdrew right before the tournament started. Where is Paul Casey, by the way? Did he not qualify?
Did he not qualify, or is he just still hurt?
Did he not qualify? Because didn't he WD here last year?
Yeah, right before.
Before the tournament.
Yeah, we had that
after lock
experience.
Anyway, okay. So if I'm going to play a live guy, I like Mito Pereira. So he's been pretty good over on live. I know it's his first time, but he's finished 5th, 6th, and 15th in the 3 live events this year, which who knows how much stock we can put into it, but at least he's trying out there.
Hold up. He's how much?
Mito
is 7,200.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that you like Mito, but for 400 more, you can play the guy that just a couple years ago was winning every major and just won the live event last week.
No, I'm playing Brooks.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're suggesting playing them both.
I think
live guys
for
in
the ownership argument, I think I will be out on Brooks among the 3 of us. I'll probably have the least.
I think Brooks and DJ are the only 2 live guys that have a chance to win. So
I thought you were advocating for Mito with what you said on taking a shot on the live guy. I thought you were advocating for Mito over Brooks, and I was just I couldn't believe that. So
no,
right.
In the lower 7, because there's Answer, there's Reed, there's Louis,
I got you.
Yeah. So he's my favorite of those guys. Almost won the U.S. Open. Was the U.S. Open or PGA Championship where he got electrocuted by the ball on 18 when he made contact. So he's got a good track record in the majors, and he's playing a little bit better. So he's going to be my favorite guy down there. Other than that, Keith Mitchell maybe, Chris Kirk maybe.
I like Kirk a lot. I like Kirk a lot. I'll chase the recency bias. 4 top 10 since January, including a win. Also, he's top 3 in this field the last 3 months. So for him, 30 rounds. And both strokes gained around the green and 3-putt avoidance. So as long as we get some good approach shots, I think he can withhold his own on the green. So, yeah, I like Kirk a lot at that price.
And I like Mitchell because I'm always a fan, and he has played here before. But
played amazing.
And the off the tee game over the last year has been great. So with that being weighted pretty well here at Augusta, I think Mitchell is certainly a guy I'll be targeting like the Kirk call as well. And you're just getting better current form than with this kind of next group of guys where, you want to take a chance on Horschel or Henley or guys that just haven't been playing that well. Excuse me, quite a few more of the Live Tour guys here in this, say, 67 to 7,100 range that, maybe these guys are the ones that people are definitely going to be a little skittish about. Noto, anything else above 7K for you?
I'm trying to look. Tigala, I like a little bit. I know he's never played here before, but we've seen some first-timers like finish top 10, plenty. And his 2 biggest strengths, he's long off the tee, and he's very good around the greens, and that's kind of a good combo here at Augusta. So I like Tigala. He's usually very popular, and this week we're going to get him at low ownership.
Daigle, anything else around 7K for you?
No, I think Adam Scott and Hoagie Adam Scott around Corey Connors is like the best take I could possibly give you in that range.
All right, let's move into the value range here, and then we'll get the snake draft fired up. Daigle, I'll keep it with you. Who you're starting to look at? Basically, we can go free for all at this point with everybody under 7K. Any values that are popping out to you first of the week here?
I always have this discussion with Ron on our DFS show, and I'm not sure who is right just yet. Maybe we're both wrong. I don't know. But the way I usually play the 6K range is to sacrifice something. Like, just show me you're doing well in something, and I'm going to take a chance on that and hope for the best, whether you've been good at it long-term or not. Whereas Ron always looks for finishing equity. He always just says, do you have good experience? Like, I can take that to 6K, you make the cut, and we can make that work. And so I'm going to take the sacrificial lamb approach here and just let you know that so we have a stat in our PGA Tour database that is distance from the edge of the fairway. So basically accurate drivers going proximity to the fairway, not being too egregious off the tee. And top 8 in this field over the last 36 rounds are both Tom Hoagie and Brian Harman, both also who are top 8 in this field in that time span and proximity to the hole on their second shot on approach. And so that tells me that both, I think anyways, can get to the green reasonably. The issue is that Tom Hoagie has been miserable scrambling around the green the last 3 months as well. So he's definitely someone that's more risk averse in my opinion, not as safe. But honestly, given Harman's experience here, and I'm not even a Harman guy, I feel like. Noto thinks I'm a Harman guy because I only talk about Harman whenever only to him because he's a Harman guy. So it seems that way. But honestly, given Harman's experience here and the way and what he's doing well at this time right now, if I could just cross my fingers and hope he sinks a couple putts, I think this is the time to jump on him. So I really like Brian Harman.
All right, Noto, a couple weeks ago, you said that Harman had lost strokes on approach in like 65 straight events or something.
You did that too.
And now, are you got to test the waters here? Are you back on Harman? Has he done enough to suck you back in?
Unfortunately, Harman and I are still separated. We're trying to work things out.
Got to carry the torch.
He's lost strokes in approach, eight straight events, and even worse, he's lost strokes around the green in 6 straight. He's used to be one of the better short game guys on the PGA Tour. And then you add in the rain. I mean, he's one of the shorter hitters in this field. I just think he's going to have a lot of like 180, 200-yard approaches this week. So I'll be rooting for him, but I won't be playing him. I'll pivot to Ryan Fox, who was extremely popular last week. He's a bomber off the tee. I know Justin's a big fan of Ryan Fox, so I think his
he was my first round pick in the snake draft last week, and he finished +6 or something.
Yeah,
I had him too. Don't worry.
That miscut is going to be the best thing possible for his ownership.
Yeah.
If he would have came T25, he would be a lot more popular. And then I like former Masters winner Danny Willett, who has been T41 or better in 5 straight events, top 30 in his last 4. And he finished, despite terrible form last year, he finished T12. We know he likes the bad weather. He likes the wind. So I'll go with some Danny Willett and Ryan Fox as my 6K guys.
All right, Daigle, anybody else for you before we try to put a bow on this and get to the live draft?
I will stamp Hoagie and Harman that I will probably be overweight on both. And those screams you hear are me looking forward to Thursday, not happy about those selections.
All right. Well, we will get ready to do our usual snake draft over on DraftKings. For those of you who are listening on the podcast feed, feel free to tune out if you wish, unless you just want to hear random commentary about the snake draft. But as always, we appreciate you listening. Head on over to the YouTube video and give us a thumbs up at some point. We appreciate that very much, and good luck with all your lineups here this week with Augusta. And we'll hopefully catch you back here next week. All right. We usually do a $5 snake draft, which is already at 7 out of 12 on DraftKings.
Jay Still, get in now if you want to. He misses the draft every week in the chat. Get in now if you want to. So are we doing the 7 out of 12 one?
Yeah, it's 8 now because I entered. So 8 out of 12, $5 snake draft on DraftKings. It's going to be 9, 10 here pretty soon. Not going to be too many open spots left for those who didn't get in early. I thought about like changing it up and going with the $10 one to throw everybody off, but I didn't want to do that. If the $5 one was already at like 9 or 10 out of 12, we might have had to, but all right.
You had to prepare accordingly. Yeah. At least they know this week is going to be $5.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I don't see Jay Steele in there.
He did not get in. It's just not happening for Jay Steele with the snake draft. All right. I usually share my screen for this, so I will do that.
Daigle, did you get in?
I did not. No, I was looking for it as we talked about it, but it's okay. I'm here.
Yeah, it was already 7 before. I probably should have done a
Jay Steele missed it again.
I tried to warn him even before we entered it.
I'm on the show, Jay Steele, and I missed it, so it's okay. We all make mistakes.
I mean, we can pivot on the fly. We can discard this one and just let it auto draft and do a $10 and let everybody get in.
Oh, it's all good. I don't know.
All right.
Should we do a $10 6-man or a $5 6-man?
Yeah, I mean we're already almost at an hour. I'll let this one auto draft.
Okay, let's find the 6-man. Let's get Daigle in there. Jay Steele, you got another chance, man.
There's a $5 6-man snake draft. That's 0 out of 6.
Okay. All right, I'm in it. Posting the link in the chat.
I don't know who's going to get auto drafted for me in the 12-man snake draft, but
it'll be your first cash of the season.
Yes, exactly. That's why the auto drafted team will be the one I actually cash.
All right, Daigle, you in?
No, not yet. I'm jumping in.
It's 5 of 6. Better hurry.
If you're out this time, I don't think we can make it happen.
And we're full.
Oh, it already filled? Good God, y'all are.
Y'all, there's people, man, and Jay Steele didn't get in again, so he's just
savages.
Oh my.
You know what?
That's okay. That's okay. It's no big deal. Savages here.
Right.
You even bumped the price a little bit for everyone and didn't stop them at all.
No, it's still $5.
Oh, okay. I thought you made it 10.
Nope, we kept the 5. Anyway, this one will go a little bit faster, and then we can get out of here.
I was excited to talk about Larry Mize as my last pick.
I'm gonna have to go back. You know, let's see.
I did have some. I had some Kyle Stanley last week. We went full sicko.
He made the cut, didn't he?
He did make the cut. He was stone min. Yeah.
Better than a lot of my guys. Jay Steele, this stupid site. 1 week you're gonna get in. That'll be great.
I pivoted back to the 12-man to see where things are going, but there's only been 2 picks made, and I think most people are going to go on auto draft. But I wanted to make sure I didn't get stuck with Spieth in the first round, so pivoted over there to take Cantlay.
Can't believe you're not playing Easter Spieth.
Give me a break. No Easter Spieth.
All right, so who's the guy that drops in the rankings?
Cam
Smith?
Probably Cam Smith.
All right, here's a question for you, Daigle. Who's the worst golfer that you think is going to finish higher than Bryson?
Oh, I thought you were going to say the worst golfer to finish high. I was like, probably Bryson. The worst golfer to finish higher than Bryson. Who is playing really bad right now? I'm trying to think. Who is your guess? I'm not going to pick him. I'm just curious to get a general range here.
I would probably take like Cam Champ or Bryson. Both equally.
It's your pick, by the way, Noto.
Okay. I can Rahm? Yeah, I'll take that.
Sergio is probably one. Honestly, for everything we described, the fact that I'm higher on Harmon and no one else is, maybe Harmon. Dude, Gary Woodland is going to piss me off. Like,
don't do it.
I'm not going to, but his putting, my word.
Yeah. And lately it's been just as
he's
bad.
Also, yeah, he's another one also who will probably finish higher than Bryson this week.
And the 6-man goes fast. Okay, starting with Ramen Day. What a start.
Oh, yeah, these lineups are going to be just light years better with the 6-man draft.
Are you guys playing any champ?
Nope.
The Augusta specialist? No. He almost made the cut one week, a couple weeks ago.
High bar we got.
Almost made
the cut 1 week.
Hang the banner. Almost made the cut that week.
Well, the only way he's getting back to the Masters is if he top 10s again, so he's got motivation.
Well, Cam Smith didn't make it out of the second round, so everyone's kind of falling in line here.
Man, the 6-man is just too fast. I like okay. Oh, I should have went Hovland.
Who was your first pick, Justin?
I've got JT and Tony Finau so far.
Okay.
Picking at the 5th pick out of 6.
Yeah.
Morikawa, that's who you just got, Noto. So Noto's got Rom Day and Morikawa so far.
Okay.
All right. Who's your guys' favorite outright bet for the week at their current odds, not the 90-1 Jason Day bet that you have, Daigle?
It still might actually be Jason Day, though. Again, I only have like 4 guys outright that I think can actually win this week. Very small pool.
I like Day a lot, too. I like JT. I'll watch him 3-putt a bunch.
I think JT is fine.
The putting has been bad lately.
If Zalatoris can do it, he can do it here.
It just feels like we do all this work only to see Scheffler win again.
Ooh,
he's a god right now.
I know. It's so bad because we never play him on this show.
I know.
It's very bad.
Well, I mean, I went to depth into it, but yeah, genuinely, it's all the same when you talk about it's like talking about Josh Allen DFS, right? Like it doesn't matter. It's Josh Allen. It's Scotty Scheffler. Like figure it out. Are you going to play him or not? Because the results are good.
All right, we're in round 5 already.
Hopefully Tiger comes back to me. This can be my exposure to him. Oh, come on.
Hell.
Don't speak during the draft.
You're going to have to take Patrick Reed instead.
Oh, Tug Rules took Siwoo and Tiger from me. That's rude.
I still think that's the most compelling storyline of this Masters is the Live guys. I can't wait.
Totally
I can't
agree,
wait to see, I can't wait to see the pairings. Because everyone seems like a terrific pairing. Like, just get Bryson and Brooks together, get Bryson and Tiger together. Like, just get them all together.
Well, did you hear the drama this morning with the tee sheets?
No, what was the tee sheets?
Tiger was supposed to be paired with Bryson, and then all of a sudden they changed it from Bryson to Rory. So I don't know what happened.
Rigging the system.
And then Tiger, 2 others, and Tom Kim were trying to skip it over the water on 16, and Tom Kim just completely bladed it right into the crowd over the green. It was great.
He is the model breaker. He always pops up at the top, but he never does anything. He never lives up to it.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with him this week.
Who's that? Sorry, I was drafting.
Tom Kim.
Oh, he got drafted right before.
All right, Jay Still. Next week, you're getting in the draft.
The one time he shows up for the show on time is the week everything fills.
And we did 2 drafts for him.
Go for 2.
It's all right. Still love you. All right, let's go.
Fitzpatrick is also popping in my model, though. I can't tell you I'll have a lot of them.
Yeah, nobody's going to play him.
Well, I almost took Mito in the last round, but I took Mitchell instead.
I'm a sucker for Fitz, though.
I don't believe it, but Justin, JT is number 1 in my model this week.
Oh, let's go. I would accept that outcome.
I would too, because just cashing one of these snake drafts has now become my life goal. We've been doing these since
on PGA DFS.
We've been doing these since January, and I haven't cashed a single $5 snake draft yet.
That was at the end of the picks. That was at the end of the pick 6 at the end of the year. That was my only goal. Like I didn't even care about the single entries anymore. I only wanted to beat Dean and Reeves and Sosa. That's all I cared about.
I almost finished third one week. It's going to be put that on my tombstone. Noto passed me 1 week for my min cash. Patrick Reed is not drafted, so he's become the guy that's fallen 29th in the DK rankings and not picked 40 picks in.
Did you also see Bryson got mad that he texted Tiger happy birthday and Tiger didn't text him thank you back or something? The dude's a head case right now.
It's amazing.
Ryan Fox was my first round pick last week. He's my last round pick this week, and we'll see how it goes. So, yes, these teams do look a lot better. JT, Finau, Zalatoris, Connors, Adam Scott, Keith Mitchell, and Ryan Fox for me. Noto's got John Rahm, Jason Day, Colin Morikawa, Tommy Fleetwood, Minwoo Lee, Mito, and Chris Kirk. And just for fun, before we duck out of here, I want to see where the other draft is at. The 12-player one, which I'm not sure if it's still going or, oh, man, it's still in round 4. And I've got Cantlay, Connors, and Hatton in that one so far. So we're already beyond the players that got drafted in the 6-man draft. But anyway, we are up at an hour here, so we better call it a show. I want to thank Daigle for joining us this week. We really appreciate you coming on. Thanks a lot, man.
Of course. And very quickly, a unique promotion for everyone. Not by choice. This has been handed down by corporate that right now, actually, they are giving away the chance for a free 4for4 football subscription. So, yes, if you go to the 4for4 Twitter page and look that we have a contest to enter a Masters contest with Paige Spearneck. And if you win, you not only get a free round of golf with her. Yes, this is real life. This is not simulation. You also get a free lifetime sub at 4for4 football. So the redraft content that usually isn't offered a lot of other places, my waiver wire, all that stuff, you can get that if you're good at Masters, if you're interested. So go enter. It's completely free.
Awesome. Lots of free goodies up for grabs this week. Noto, anything else before we get out of here?
No, also check out that the Augusta Squares that we mentioned at the Action Network. That should be a lot of fun. I don't know if we're eligible to enter that, but if so, we'll have to check that out. But yeah, best of luck, everybody. I hope somebody wins the million. One of us three, one of the RG community, something like that would be fun.
I'll have Harmon, so I'm not winning, but I'll do my best.
Appreciate all you joining us as always. Good luck to everyone. Thanks to Steve for producing behind the scenes for us as well. As always, we hope you have a great week. Enjoy the golf, and we'll be back at you next week. It'll be a hangover week, I guess, so to speak, after a major, but that's okay. We'll still be here with the content for you. Again, thanks to John Daigle for joining us. Thanks to Noto for joining me also. I am Justin. We'll catch you later, everybody.